Sure. I'll talk it out.
Yeah, let's just have a conversation.
Track 3.
Better not be fucking Dave Matthews Band.
Okay. Those of you who don't want to be a part of this can leave now.
Derek, please listen to me.
But if you choose to stay, which it seems like you guys are choosing,
Derek, please.
you understand and agree to the following terms and conditions.
Derek!
1.
Derek, this is the virus.
You hereby waive your right
Derek, please.
to your own personal bodily integrity.
This is not you.
2.
I'm a license.
Per the State versus Neville Reed, my colleague and I will not be held criminally liable for any felony or misdemeanor that you may be a victim of, including, but not limited to, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, disorderly conduct, destruction of property, mayhem, and first-degree murder. And 3, terms and conditions may change or be updated whenever the fuck I want! Consider yourselves notified.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but 2 things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town. Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
What was that ruckus? What ruckus? I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Describe the ruckus, sir.
Does this mean you're not friends anymore? Not me. I'm in my prime.
Hey, Mike. Ain't it cool?
First you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Blow. Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
What up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you on the Military Radio Podcast doing my top 10 John Hughes films. Now, John Hughes is a filmmaker, producer, writer. During the 80s, he was really instrumental. If you were like an 80s kid, his movies were like the Bible for you in terms of the coming of age stuff. He also was a big part of the bringing about the Brat Pack, so to speak, through his films and stuff. One of the more notable actresses was Molly Ringwald, was in a lot of his films, but you would see throughout his entire filmography the same usual faces of actors and actresses that he would use in those films. But sadly, he passed away in 2009 of a heart attack, but very, very instrumental in terms of like setting off the course for a lot of actors and actresses during that time. So, I started thinking about it. It's like, well, let me go see the films like in his list that he's done, and I wonder like exactly how I would rank them. And so I put together a list of my top 10, and basically I'll play like a trailer for each one that I choose to do, but I'll give you a little bit of a synopsis of each film that we have go through here. So my number 10 pick is going to be kind of controversial with some people because, to be honest, of the 10 that I selected, this one I feel like is the most overrated, but it's also one that a lot of people tend to love and they talk about a lot. I mean, they quote it a lot. Generally, we quote a lot of John Hughes films anyway, but yeah. So, like at number 10 for me, it's going to be Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it stars Matthew Broderick, Alan Ruck, and Mia Sara. And those are kind of like your main three, but some of the other names in here again during this time. This was, I think this was 86 or what year was this one? Yeah, 86. This was released, and so, but you also had Ben Stein in here. You had Jennifer Grey. You had Charlie Sheen, Christy Swanson, Louis Anderson. So there's a lot of familiar names in here, even in smaller roles. Matthew Broderick, of course, coming off of a movie like War Games in '84. So, him doing this kind of stuff is really interesting. And, Matthew had tended to do some different comedies throughout his career. And this is just one of those examples of where he was using his comedic chops. But the film overall doesn't resonate with me as much as it do other people. There's some other ones that I feel like are much more impactful for me with both emotion and the comedy aspects and everything else. So I'm trying to. I also had Jeffrey Jones. Now, Jeffrey Jones, you remember, plays the father to Winona Ryder's character in Beetlejuice. So he's awesome as he plays like the teacher that's constantly trying to hunt down Ferris because he's trying to like ditch school and just go have a day with his girlfriend and his friends. So obviously there's that that scene or that moment in the movie where they borrow his friend's dad's Ferrari, and the guy that ends up like joyriding with the car ends up like putting too many miles on it, so they were trying to put the car in reverse as if that was going to work, and then the car ends up going out the back of the house and down into the ravine. So it has some pretty good moments in it, but overall I didn't really find it quite as amazing as some of the other works that he has. But certainly let's go ahead and check out the trailer for Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. You want to get married?
Sure.
Today?
What are we gonna do?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do?
This is Edward R. Rooney, Dean of Students.
You are aware that your son is not in school today.
This is all news to me.
He has missed an unacceptable number of school days.
He has been absent 9 times.
Wake up and smell the coffee, Mrs. Bueller. It's a fool's paradise.
A, you can never go too far. B, if I'm gonna get busted, it is not gonna be by a guy like that.
I don't trust this kid any further than I could throw him.
I've got you right where I want you.
Pucker up, Buttercup.
Whoops.
Bueller.
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 Hi, it's Ferris Bueller.
So yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I mean, overall the film is decent and definitely one of the better ones out there that John Hughes made. But it does end up at number 10 on my list. At number 9, I have the 1988 film The Great Outdoors, starring Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, Annette Bening. Also have who else is in here that I would know? I guess Louis Arquette. I'm assuming it's one of the Arquettes, but I'm not really entirely sure. But basis of this film is John Candy is a father who's married and he's going to go have a vacation with his family. But Aykroyd plays his brother, who is oftentimes very crazy, does a lot of outlandish things. It's almost like if you thought of like Caddyshack, right? And, how ridiculous Dangerfield was in that. He just comes in and he just starts throwing money around and just partying, and that's sort of what Dan Aykroyd plays here, and that's one thing that Candy's character tries to avoid in terms of like his brother just like kind of ruining his vacation. So they end up just showing up to their cabin during his vacation, so it just turns into a big clusterfuck. One of the funnier moments in the film is this big bear that at some point there's like a legend that it got its ass shot at, and so it has like a bare ass. And so but it's been a while since I've seen the film, but I just always remembered it being pretty fucking funny. And the thing about Candy and Aykroyd is their collaboration as comedian actors goes back a long way to like Stripes and stuff like that. So yeah, just a very, very fun movie. And let's go ahead and check out the trailer for The Great Outdoors.
This is Chet.
You remember me, Chet Ripley?
How you doing? This is his family.
You can run around here naked as a bear and not worry about running into anybody.
This is Roman.
What a gas.
This is his family.
I'm waiting for the heads to rotate around and vomit pea soup.
They're about to spend 1 week together in the great outdoors.
We weren't invited.
They'll be tickled to death to see us.
Who invited them anyway?
But this is no holiday.
The man is an ass.
This is war.
You wouldn't know a good time if it fell out of the sky, landed on your face, and started to wiggle.
Are you going to argue, or are you going to enjoy yourself?
Dan Aykroyd. John Candy. The Great Outdoors. Outdoor fun for the whole family.
That had to hurt.
So yeah, there you go. Great Outdoors. Next up at number 8 is 16 Candles. And let me get the year straight on this one. 1984. So it's been a while. Yeah, so the movie stars Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall, Paul Dooley. We also have John and Joan Cusack. So this is like long before they became, stars in their own right. You have a young Jamie Gertz in here. The basis of the film is Molly plays a young girl, teen girl, who's getting ready to turn 16. And on the day of her birthday, it seems like everybody has forgotten her birthday. She has a crush on this jock guy in school. And I'm trying to remember what that dude's name is. Part of me always thought that it might be Michael Schofield, but he always reminded me of Matt Dillon in some ways, but it's not him. But she has a crush on this guy, and so basically she stares at him, and he kind of notices but doesn't really say too much. And he's dating, you know, actually, I might be confusing my movies here. No, that's right. Yeah, I'm confusing a little bit. My apologies, but she does have a crush on this guy. But the other part is like, there's a guy named Farmer Ted the Geek, which is played by Anthony Michael Hall, and he's like this nerdy kid who constantly annoys her. And there's a moment in the film where he's basically like, "I just need to borrow your panties for like 5 minutes." So, and then when she finds out what he was doing with the panties, like it just like distraughts her. And then we've got Getty Watanabe, and I think this guy is related to Ken, but he plays Lon Duke Dong, which is like a foreign exchange student, and he's just had his first experience throughout the film partying, and he goes nuts, like he's just crazy. Again, it's been a while since I've seen this film, but do remember enjoying it a lot. Maybe not as much as some of the other ones, but certainly a lot of fun still. So let's check out trailer for 16 Candles.
So, I mean, what's the story? I mean, you got a guy or?
Yes, 3 big ones and they went blood.
Her name is Samantha Baker, and today is her 16th birthday.
She's gotten her boobies.
Oh, I better go get my magnifying glass.
They forgot my birthday.
Universal Pictures presents 16 Candles.
This is the single worst day of my entire life.
The story of a girl who's stuck with a guy who's driving her crazy. And stuck on a guy she's crazy about.
He doesn't even know you exist.
Do you know Samantha Baker? Kids are looking at me a lot. Maybe she's retarded.
Nothing could shock me anymore.
Underpants. Can I borrow your underpants for 10 minutes?
Everybody in this family has just gone totally out of limits.
Unless you take Carolyn home. She's so blitz, she won't know the difference.
Jake, I don't have a car.
You can take mine.
I gotta get out of here before anything else terrible happens.
Everyone she knows is either on her case or out of their tree. It only happens once in a lifetime.
This has got to be a joke.
And once is enough.
This is getting good.
16 Candles.
So yeah. So that film is a lot of fun. Anthony Michael Hall pretty much steals the movie, though. He's just ridiculous in it, but not surprising either. But very, very cool film. But that moves us into number 7. Again, another film starring Molly Ringwald. Like I said, she was a big fixture in John Hughes Films throughout their careers together. And Pretty in Pink stars Molly Ringwald, Harry Dean Stanton, John Cryer as Ducky, who, if you watch 2.5 Men when Charlie Sheen was doing it, he's the other half of that. So obviously that's a familiar face for a lot of people at that point. Much young Annie Potts, who was in Ghostbusters, she plays Janine in that. James Spader, Andrew McCarthy, Andrew Dice Clay, Christy Swanson, Dweezil Zappa, Gina Gershon as Trombley. So a lot of these actors that went on to have pretty good careers at their young and small supporting roles. So a lot of fun in here. So again, Molly plays Andy, who's a student who has, she's kind of like an outsider. Her friend Annie, they kind of work at a record store, and the issues that she faces is that she kind of likes this guy Blaine, played by Andrew McCarthy, who's more of a yuppie, Richie Rich, and she's not so much Richie Rich. Then James Spader plays Steph, who is basically Andrew's friend, but he's far more arrogant, conceited. James always played these roles very well. Even when you watch Blacklist, like now in his later ages, like he still plays like these cocky characters, which fits him nicely. He's a great actor. But yeah, so she obviously gets to a point where she's kind of like getting along with Blaine, and he kind of likes her, but Blaine's also got the peer pressure of staying in the good graces of his rich friends, and they don't really accept Andy too much, and so it becomes this problem where just drama, between the two of them, where she wants to be with him, but she wants him to be able to accept her and not be afraid or shy to be holding her hand in school or whatever, and she doesn't want to have to hide it that they like each other. Meanwhile, Spader is kind of like just trying to sabotage everything between them two, knowing that it would hurt their image as yuppies or whatever. So very interesting movie. It's really got some good performances by Cryer and Molly Ringwald in here. So Spader is excellent as usual. Yeah, so let's check out the trailer for Pretty in Pink.
I want all the gory details.
His name's Blaine. He's so beautiful.
Blaine? Oh, that's a major appliance. That's not a name.
He's a Richie.
Woody?
It's just his family has a lot of money.
Does he have strong lips?
How can you tell?
Do you feel it in your knees?
I felt it everywhere.
Strong lips.
I love this woman, and I have to tell her.
All you gotta do is try.
We're closed.
You know what an older woman does for me?
Changes your diapers.
Touche.
Hey, this is Steph's party, Blaine.
And you shouldn't be allowed to invite just anybody.
Why are you getting involved?
The girl was, is, will always be nada.
Just say it.
You're ashamed to be seen with me.
I am
You're
not.
ashamed to go out with me.
You like him, he likes you. What his friends think shouldn't make any difference.
I just want to let them know that they didn't break me.
You told me you couldn't believe in somebody who didn't believe in you. I've always believed in you. I just didn't believe in me.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, Cryer, who plays Ducky, he's the best friend of Annie, who actually has a crush on her. So while my circumstances growing up as a teen isn't exactly like that, it's similar. In fact, I actually liked a girl that I was really good friends with, and that was the dilemma, right? Like, I never was seen as friend zoned, but basically I learned, after the drama and the sadness of not winning her affection, that I can be her friend and that'd be fine. But that's sort of that dilemma that young men face when they really like a girl that they've been friends with and they don't see them the same way. So that movie resonates a lot with me back then, with growing up as a teen boy and liking girls, etc., etc. So let's bring ourselves to, what number are we on now? We are on 6 already. And so that is Weird Science from 1985. Stars Anthony Michael Hall. Kelly LeBrock, everybody will know her, obviously, from Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal. I think they ended up marrying each other for a while after that. You have Bill Paxton, great role in this. Robert Downey Jr. Ian Mitchell Smith plays the friend of Anthony Michael Hall's character, Vernon Wells. We've seen him before. And yeah, so we have like a lot of great cameos and faces in this film. Basically, what you have is Anthony Michael Hall's character and Smith's character, two young boys, nerdy. Smith, his brother, Chet, played by Paxton. Paxton's like I don't know what you really call him, but he's the older brother who just kind of bullies him and makes fun of Chet all the time because he's so nerdy and not, willing to, just fucks with him all the time and gets kind of annoying. But Paxton plays a good asshole in this. But what these two do is they're very smart and they're into science and computers, the early age of computers. And so basically, they get together one night and they decide they're going to create their ultimate woman. And so somehow in their bright minds, they put on some bras on their head. And I don't know if they had panties somewhere, but they were going the whole length. I'm like, okay, we need to make her look like this. And their boobs need to be bigger. Yeah, this needs to be like this. And so what they end up doing is they, through the computer, they make the woman. And then all of a sudden, out of this doorway in the closet, boom, Kelly LeBrock's there, half shirt, panties. And what ends up happening is she basically, I guess it's kind of alluded that she has sex with them at some point. But that's not really the object of what her purpose is. Her purpose is more to allow these guys to gain confidence in themselves and, find their own ladies, their own age, but she's kind of helping them bloom in a sense. And even she has like some powers of her own to make things happen. So like when Chet gets out of line, she turns Chet into like this big blob. And he's farting and it's nasty and they're just kind of making fun of him. Now they're making fun of him. And Chet's like, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to do it. You got this crazy looking creature like talking ass. But it's cool because it does, you see towards the end where she's almost like a genie in some ways, like to where she's allowed these guys to kind of grow out of their shells and be more outgoing and confident in themselves and how they approach girls and then feel better about themselves overall. So yeah, the film's very, very good. Definitely up there in terms of popularity and people still talk about it today. So let's check out the trailer for Weird Science.
Ready?
Yep. Let's go.
She's alive! Alive!
Hello, pretty lady. Tell me something. What's a beautiful bride like you doing with a malaka like this, huh?
It's purely sexual.
No shit.
She's into malakas, Dino.
She's into malaka.
I do whatever they say.
Scotch.
Straight up?
Yeah, give me the whole bottle.
Tell you what, you bend over. Now shove it straight up your ass.
Hi.
Yeah, I drive. Give me the key.
By the way, why are we wearing bras on our heads?
Ceremonial.
First time in my life, I don't feel like a total dick.
Yeah, me either.
This is highly illegal.
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
You're out of shape. I'll kick your ass.
Is this your party?
And the family too? Very good.
They make you in the garage with power tools?
It's gonna be sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, dips, chains, whips. Your basic high school orgy type of thing.
You're dead meat, Pilgrim.
Lady, I want to get to the bottom of this. ASAFP.
Oh, so do I.
But first, I'd like to butter your muffin.
Oh my God, it's been so long since I've seen this film. I have to revisit. Maybe maybe Kevin Lambert and I will do a retro on that one because it's been so long since I've seen that. It's such a good film. I forgot just how good. Vernon, if you recognize him, of course, from The Road Warrior, he's a fixture in that film and stands out a lot. Then, of course, I forget the name of the bald guy, but he's from The Hills Have Eyes, and he's also in the video for Motley Crue's Smoking in the Boys' Room. So, very good actor. He's been around for a while. A lot of fun, but he has that unique look that you'll never miss whenever you watch a film with him in it. Which brings us to number 5. And I can admit, I probably could have put 3 films here in this spot because they're all part of the same universe. And that, of course, is the National Lampoon's films. And John Hughes started out as a National Lampoon at National Lampoon magazine before he went into the writing and films and directing and stuff. So it's not a shock that he would end up doing films based upon that magazine. And the first one was, National Lampoon's Vacation, which the film main guy is Chevy Chase, who really became a star through a lot of that. Then you had European Vacation, which was incredibly funny, and but then we land with Christmas Vacation, and that's the one that makes it at number 5. And so we have Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, young Juliette Lewis, Johnny Galecki, Diane Ladd, E.G. Marshall, Randy Quaid, who plays the brother Chase in the film. Quaid always plays some crazy ass characters. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And again, we see a lot of these familiar faces in these films. And basically, Chase plays Clark Griswold, who, is trying to celebrate Christmas. It's a big time of the year for him. He's looking forward to his Christmas bonus from his boss. Randy Quaid, who plays his brother, is much like the other film, The Great Outdoors, where the brother is just like a train wreck. His family is not very financial off. They come driving up in a motorhome, I think, and they're a train wreck. They got a cat that gets into trouble with the Christmas tree, and it's just one big catastrophe after another on Christmas Day. And so it's funny as hell. I can't express it enough, how great it is. But let's check out the trailer for National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
There it is. Look at it.
It really is beautiful, Clark.
Something else, huh, Russ?
Yeah, Dad. Did you bring a saw?
I give you the Griswold family Christmas tree. You'll be looking at a nice fat Christmas bonus this year, huh?
You're gonna blow it on yourself, I hope.
Oh my God, you're putting in a pool.
Ed and I put a $7,500 deposit down on it. You're the last true family man.
Did I tell you I talked to my mother today? They've decided they're coming for Christmas, too.
Folks, Merry Christmas. Spit nipply out. I mean nippy out. What did I say, nipple? We're gonna have the best looking house in town, Russ.
You might be overdoing it, Dad.
Hope he falls and breaks his neck.
I'm sure he'll fall, but I don't think we're lucky enough to have him break his neck.
I think how difficult it's going to be having everybody in the house at the same time.
Clark, dinner's ready.
And why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
I don't know. I dedicate this house to the Griswold family Christmas.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Nope.
House sure does look swell, Clark. I hope you didn't do this all on our account, Clark.
We have plenty of room.
Can't believe you're actually standing here in my living room, Eddie. Never thought the day would come.
There, that's an RV.
Some fire, Clark.
No,
go, Bethany. Those are Christmas lights.
Don't throw me down, Claude.
I'll try not to, Aunt Bethany.
Where do you think you're gonna put a tree that big? Bend over and I'll show you.
Here's the heart.
And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Yep, there you go. Crazy, crazy movie. All right, so now we're getting to the top 4, and really these are the creme de la creme, the best ones really of the entire John Hughes filmography. Like, even though all the other ones are great, it's really from here on out that these films I could watch them nonstop all the time. The other ones I have to be in the right mood to sit down with them, but these ones from 4 on to number 1, just primo. In fact, I just watched number 4 not too long ago again. I know that Kevin Lambert also really likes this film a lot, and that of course is what year did we get this one in? This is 1987's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, starring Steve Martin, John Candy, Michael McKean. We have Kevin Bacon is in this, Martin Fierro, as well as Ben Stein again shows up. And basically, Steve Martin plays a family man who's on a business trip who's trying to get home for Christmas. And another guy, Dell, played by John Candy, is also trying to get home. Or I should say that's the plan, right? The plan's to get home. But what ends up happening is they cross paths. And Dell is like a train wreck. You know, he's like this shower curtain ring salesman who travels around, and you know, Neil, played by Martin, is an advertising executive, so they come from similar worlds but different. And Dell, like, you know, while trying to assist Neil to get home, shit just unravels and gets fucked up. There's a moment where they rent a car, they're trying to share a car to get home, and the car gets toasted because Dell is just, again, he's not like, he's a very nice dude. It's just like bad things follow him, like, you know, just getting into trouble, like, you know, just crazy ass shit. And but the movie's so funny, and then what ends up happening, and I could spoil it because the movie's been out forever, but I don't want to, because the change in pace at the end is what really solidifies this film as one of the best ever in the John Hughes collection, because you would think that by the end of it, Neil would like rather strangle Dell and like tell him to get fucked. And then yet there's like this enlightening moment that we get at the very end, and it's heartwarming and sweet, and it's just so well done, really well done. So now we're going to check out Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And the funny thing is, whenever you watch the trailer of this, it never leads on that there's this change of pace at the end. So like, it's kind of cool though.
First you delay me, then you bump me. I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm going home for Thanksgiving. I can help get you home. Taxi! I've got a family waiting for me.
Here we go.
They have diners, pizza, and a gasoline cart. Have mercy. I've been wearing the same underwear since Tuesday.
I can vouch for that.
Oh my god, too funny. Too funny. All right. Coming in at number 3. This film, probably the most well-known John Hughes film ever. The movie stars Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, Catherine O'Hara, who, again, much like Jeffrey Jones, was in Beetlejuice. Who else we got? John Candy appears in this. We have, let's see, Kieran Culkin, Matt Doherty, and I'm trying to see if there's any other names that I recognize off the top of my head. Nope. So basically what we have here is a family getting ready to go on a Christmas vacation. And O'Hara and John Hurd are the parents of a bunch of these kids, like a lot of kids. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them. And Macaulay Culkin playing Kevin is one of them. He's the youngest. And so as they're gathering out, the thing is, Kevin, because he's the youngest and he's kind of the neediest, he's always kind of annoying the older brother and some of the other siblings, and the parents are trying to be as fair and balanced in how they deal with their kids in general, but Kevin can get himself in trouble. In fact, I think it's the night before, he manages to get in trouble. And he gets sent off to bed without dinner or something. And, they're just like not tolerating his bullshit. He's just kind of whining and being crazy. So the family have gotten or, leased out a van that would come pick him up and take him to the airport. And so it's a mad rush because they're all getting up. They're kind of running late. They want to make sure they get to the airport. So as they get out there, one of the sisters, she's the one responsible for counting the kids that get into the van so they can get to their location in the airport. So as she's counting the heads to make sure everyone's accounted for, there's a couple of neighbor kids, or at least one that comes by just kind of bullshitting. She doesn't pay attention, so all she's doing is counting heads. So she thinks everyone's there, and they all pile in to the airport. They're rushing to get to the plane. They get in there, and then we get thrown back to Kevin, who's still sleeping. He missed the entire chaos of everyone getting up, running out, getting breakfast, and going. He's just been sleeping all night. So he wakes up, no one's there, by himself. And he has no way of contacting anyone. And this is where his journey starts as, a young kid now having to basically survive on his own, which is, I think it's like a week they're supposed to be gone. So at first, he's like happy as a clown because I think he actually made a wish. He's like, I wish I never had this family. And then, they all forgot, left him because not on purpose, but just how it turned out. So he thinks his wish has come true. So he's happy. He's fucking dancing, he's running amok on the house, doing whatever he wants to do. But once the dust settles and he realizes, it's lonely, now he's like kind of sad. But as he's dealing with this, there's a pair of robbers played by Pesci and Stern who are robbing houses during the Christmas season. So they're called the wet bandits or something like that. And those two, Pesci and Stern, knock it out of the park. They are fucking hilarious in this film. Now, Kevin doesn't really understand everything that's going on, but he figures out that, he sees like they're trying to snoop around the house. So he does what he becomes creative and plays the TV loud. Now, Pesci and Stern, they work for a security company and then the community that they're at. So they kind of know who's there and who's gone for the holidays and whatever. That's how they know they can rob some places. So anyway, it just turns into a cat and mouse thing between Kevin and these thieves. And really, in the end, like, there's just this moment of clarity when O'Hara's character, the mother, is on the plane. She realizes, Kevin, we forgot Kevin. So she makes it a point to go back and get Kevin. Like, she's feeling shitty. And because they weren't very happy with him. So there's like these last words that you said before you left, and now this kid is left alone. Now, there's also some cool moments with the neighbor that seems creepy, but plays a nice role in the end, and they kind of help each other. I don't want to give too much away. I mean, obviously, I think most people have seen this film, but if you haven't, it's a fantastic film to watch. And anyway, let's check out the trailer for Home Alone.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the home, one boy would discover he'd been left all alone.
I made my family disappear. Get that little creep! Don't worry, Mom, I'll get him for you. You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Home Alone, sure, the greatest holiday family film ever.
Yeah, in fact, most people who follow me now know I have a tarantula hobby. I keep tarantulas. I have 17 different species right now. So I was looking at the trailer again, and I went back and said, I gotta see what kind of spider that is. I'm pretty good now at recognizing certain species. So I was checking it out. I was like, it's a Costa Rican striped knee. I have one of those. And they are docile, but they can be a little bit defensive at times. But I saw the stripes, and I said, I knew what that is. And it's really cool. I can now identify the actual species that they were using. So that was fun to go back and check that out. I enjoyed that. All right. Down to the last two, without a doubt, the two best films in John Hughes' collection. Again, I love all these films, but obviously as we get closer to the number one, it's like those are just the cream of the cream there. And that's now with a movie called Uncle Buck from 1989. And I really, really love the concept behind this. John Candy stars in, of course, is Uncle Buck. You have Macaulay Culkin again is in this. Amy Madigan. Jean Louise Kelly is in this. And then I'm trying to remember. Sorry, I'm just trying to look because I forget the woman that plays Buck's girlfriend, but she also is in the Field of Dreams, I believe. I think that's the same actress. But the real star of the movie here, besides Candy, is of course Tia, played by Louisa Kelly, because the oldest daughter. This whole premise is Uncle Buck. He's kind of a drifter. He works just on the side. He likes to bet on horse racing, and the family, his sister has his family, and so the mother is kind of at battle with her oldest daughter, who's just a rebellious teen, has a boyfriend named Bug, and so that comes into play later. And when they find out that one of their relatives have passed away, they have to go to the funeral, but they don't want to take all the kids with them. So they can't find anybody to watch the kids locally. So she ends up having to call Buck and say, hey, I really need you to come watch the kids while we're gone. And she really doesn't want to do that because she knows her brother's a pain in the ass and he's just kind of like a loser, basically, at least in their mind, right? So it just turns out to where Buck shows up, and Culkin and the younger daughter, they're just little kids, and they love Uncle Buck. They think he's hilarious. But Tia is she's trying to find any way just to not listen to him and be combative and not, because he's like, I'm going to pick you up from school. You're going to come back here. He's trying to be a responsible adult, but she's pushing back hard. So the movie centers on him constantly trying to communicate with her and reach her, and he doesn't really care for the boyfriend. He kind of thinks he's a shady ass, which turns out he was right. But again, it's much like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The ending gives you a very nice, warm feeling about how it finally works out, and these two are able to coexist and actually respect one another. And so it's really, really endearing as a film. So let's check out the trailer for Uncle Buck.
Where do you live?
In the city.
Do you have a house?
Apartment.
On a rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Are you my dad's brother?
I'm your dad's brother, all right.
Buck Russell had always been the black sheep of the family.
I'm stunned that I'm related to you.
Until one night.
Buck, we have a problem with the kids. We're stuck for somebody to watch them.
Oh, please, not that.
Can we trust him?
He's my brother, for God's sake.
I won't let him get into that Satan stuff or any of the new chicks. I'll leave that for me. I'm kidding.
Now, he's making them breakfast.
Cigar?
No, thanks.
Making them lunch. And making them crazy.
What did you do?
He's irresistible.
I want to ask you why I'm so attracted to you.
I wouldn't even guess at that.
He's unbelievable.
I'm Anita Horgar.
I'm Buck Melanoma. Russell's wart.
He's John Candy. As Uncle Buck.
What does he like to drink? I've been leaving the toilet seats up. Is that what the blue water is? It's not good for him, huh?
Uncle Buck, the new comedy from John Hughes.
You have much more hair on your nose than my dad.
How nice of you to notice.
I'm a kid, that's my job.
Thanks for watching.
Yep. Great movie. So good. And again, the woman that plays Cindy, the neighbor that's constantly hitting on Candy, is pretty fucking hilarious. But we're down to number one. I think a lot of people who know John Hughes films are going to know which one this is. Without a doubt, it is 1985's. I'm pretty sure that was the year. Yep. For The Breakfast Club. The coming of age film. To me, this film stands the test of time. It's very much relevant then as it is now, or vice versa, you know, how you want to look at it. It never shied away from being what it was. And it actually, even as a teen, like, opened my eyes to, like, you know, because, you know, growing up in high school can be tough, man. Like, and you had different cliques, and I wasn't always popular. I didn't get really kind of like, I guess would you call popular till my senior year. And that's only because I kind of changed my look and I actually got confidence. But I was kind of a nerdy kid growing up. And despite being in the hard rock and stuff, I was really an outsider. So I probably had more in common with like Anthony Michael Hall's character than any of the other ones. Maybe Bender a little bit towards the end, but I wasn't quite where he was. But you know, but the funny thing is, even with Emilio Estevez's character, Andrew Clark, like, he's the athlete. So I was somebody who was like kind of nerdy, into rock, but I like sports. So I was doing a lot of different things, but just growing up and, you know, getting, you know, more branching out as a social butterfly in some ways helped. But it was a process, man. And this movie kind of like touches on a lot of different things with these characters. You have 5 students who are spending detention on a Saturday. And, you know, you got Paul Gleason as Richard Vernon, and, you know, he's guy from Die Hard film. And, you know, he's like the teacher who's got to babysit these kids, and he's just a hard ass. You know, he's like, you're coming in here, you're not going to just sit here and not do anything. You're going to write me an essay about who you think you are. So we have Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, and Ali Sheedy. Those are our 5 kids, and they're all different from different walks of life. So, you know, Estevez and Ringwald, they're kind of like the more popular preppy kids. Molly's character definitely has money in her background. Judd Nelson is John Bender. He's the heavy metal rock guy that comes from like a broken family where abuse is clearly taking place, and he's kind of using that as like his projecting out to other people as like he's an asshole a little bit. And then again, Michael Hall is Brian Johnson. He's like the nerdy guy, you know, he's smart, but you know, just doesn't fit in really anywhere. And so, and then she's more like, they call it a basket case, but she's more just like maybe what you would call a little bit of a goth girl. She doesn't wear the makeup, but she's more in that element where she's just kind of her own person, and she just she just likes being solitary. She likes doing her own shit, but they would see her as weird because she doesn't fit in with any particular group. But you know, what I like about the film is that it starts out where all five of them, you know, really don't mesh. But as the day goes on and the story unravels, like they start to realize how much more they have in common than they don't. And it's like, just because of their social groups, you know, that's the reason why they don't really hang out or anything. And so it still becomes a point of contention even later, as they're having this really serious discussion, which is very important for those that have ever dealt with suicidal thoughts. You know, Brian at one point asks Claire, you know, he kind of considered them all friends now that they were hanging out on this Saturday and kind of get to know each other. And he asked her, like, you know, what happens if I come up to you on Monday and, you know, say hello or want to eat lunch together? And she's like, no, it wouldn't happen, because she knows her friends would not accept that. They would just laugh at Brian. And then Andrew, you know, who's another one of the, you know, basically yuppie athlete guy, he's like, you know, that's fucked up. But Claire's like, yeah, but Andrew, if you and your buddies, what are you going to do? Are you going to take Brian under your wing? Because it's the same issue. There's peer pressure from their friends to have a certain social standing. And then there's the battle with, you know, Vernon, you know, like he's very hard on. In fact, him and Bender butt heads like a lot in the film. And there's even a point where Vernon's like, go ahead, hit me. You hit me, because if you hit me and I beat your ass, no one's going to believe me that I fucking whipped some punk's ass. Or he's like, they won't care about you. They will care about me because I'm an outstanding, upright citizen of society. And he continues to dogpile on Bender a little bit. And so that really affects Bender in some ways. But eventually they all, aside from Brian, you know, Brian doesn't really end up getting together. Like Claire ends up on some level hooking up with Bender, and then Andrew kind of hooks up with Ali Sheedy's character, Allison. Sorry. And they end up just kind of building these relationships. And I think even Brian, even though he isn't like hooking up with anybody, he's like at least gained some respect with all of them on some level. So the film is very, very endearing. It's still relevant today. Anybody that can watch it that ever had to deal with like high school and young growing up and stuff like that can look at this film and say, yeah, I get this. I get what's going on here. And it's a very important message. So let's go ahead and check out 1985's The Breakfast Club.
Well, here we are. It is now 7:06. You have exactly 8 hours and 54 minutes to think about why you're here. Any questions?
Yeah. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
A brain.
Chicks, you now hold this smoke. That's me.
A beauty.
I'm not going to discuss my private life with strangers.
A jock.
You wear tights? I wear the required uniform. Tights. Shut up.
A rebel.
He's doing it to get a rise out of you. Just ignore him.
You couldn't ignore me if you tried.
And a recluse.
I'm a nymphomaniac.
Are your parents aware of this?
You want to spend a little more time trying to do something with yourself and a little less time trying to impress me. You might be better off.
Yeah, I consider you guys my friends. Not wrong. Being bad feels pretty good. You see us as you want to see us. In the simplest terms, the most convenient definition. Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.
Forgot my pencil.
I've got a hunger, twisting my stomach into knots.
There you have it. Now, it wasn't in the trailer there, but the theme song, Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds, is still like one of my favorite 80s tracks from back then, and really worked with the film a lot. It went really huge when it got released. So some of these trailers have a little bit more modern feel to it because I was trying to find the best quality of the trailer I could find. So that's why some of them look a little bit different or have a little bit different music in the background. But again, you could literally release that trailer now and it would still be as effective today with today's youth that it would be back then when I was growing up. So very great film, stands the test of time. I don't know why we really haven't done a review on it through any of my collaborations or even myself, but eventually probably will get there. It's just such an amazing film, and you could probably take any one of these and do a review on them and still have a lot to say about how effective they are. John Hughes, despite some of the criticisms by Molly Ringwald about some of the scenes in Breakfast Club, I was really kind of disappointed in that because she was doing it pretty much after he died. So I kind of hated that. I mean, it's not that she didn't have respect for John or didn't appreciate what he did for a career, but I just kind of felt like that was basically throwing mud on a guy when he wasn't there to defend his decisions with what he was doing in the films as far as directing or writing. But anyway, that's a minor point. A lot of these actors and actresses highly regard John Hughes and respect him for what he did for their careers. So that's my list, man. I mean, let me know what you think, what your list is, what might be in list, or what you would take out or move around. And hit the like and subscribe button, please. And you'll be seeing more of me later this week, doing some collaborations. I know tomorrow, Kevin Lambert and I and a couple of other people on the panel will be doing a review of Point Break with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. And then later in the evening, I know Kevin's doing a live Q&A where we'll be kind of talking about our favorite villains and heroes in film. So that's actually kind of overdue. I was going to be doing one of those, I think, at one point with Kevin where we were going to kind of go through our top 10 villain and hero list. But this is a better way of engaging with the fan bases of these channels that I collab with. And so it's been a lot of fun. We have a lot of new young people or people joining our chats and hanging out with us and talking, which is very nice. But yeah, man, just hit the like button, subscribe if you enjoy the content here, and see you next time on the Military Radio Podcast.